Now, if you're considering moving to Pflugerville, Texas, this is going to be the ultimate guide for you. My wife and I, my family and I live here in Pflugerville, and as you can see just over my shoulder, some really big things are coming. We're gonna talk about all of that. We're gonna go over all the different neighborhoods, what it's actually like, housing-wise in Pflugerville, because there's a huge difference between some of the older parts, some of the newer parts, and of course, some new construction out this way. What the park systems look like. We're gonna talk about some of the pitfalls, toll roads, high tax rates, those kind of things, what to watch out for, as well as some schools. And stick around to the end too, because I'm going to talk about why my family and I landed here on Pflugerville and why we have no plans on leaving. Let's jump right into this. Now, to set up, we are here in Pflugerville, which, if you're looking at a map of Austin, is the very first north suburb of Austin. We're just getting out of Austin off of I-35 here. And Pflugerville really is that nice balance between, living that quieter suburban life, but you're still not super far from things like some of the other suburbs around, with comparable price ranges, with a comparable type of lifestyle have, like Leander, for example. If you commute downtown, those commutes can just be so long. Pflugerville doesn't have that problem. Now, Pflugerville also has some really cool things going for it as well. Quite proudly, they are the trail capital of Texas, officially signed off by the governor. We have more miles of trail per capita than any other city in the entirety of Texas. There's over 70 miles of trails. If you include the city of Pflugerville as well as Pflugerville's ETJ, kind of cool. And apparently no resident is more than 1 mile away from any trails as well. So anyways, if you're an outdoorsy person, this one is very, very cool for it. But there's some really big things coming here in Pflugerville. Let's jump in the car because I need to talk about the new rec center and the new city hall. Now, we are going down FM 685 right now, and if you look just that way, this is the new downtown Pflugerville, which is by far and away the biggest thing that we've got as far as updates coming. And I can't stress enough how awesome this is going to be. So the big 5-story building at the end, that is going to be Pflugerville's new city hall. It's over 100,000 square feet, and it's going to bring all of Pflugerville's governance within one building, which is a great thing for the first time, because right now they're dotted all around town. But even bigger than that, and what matters more to you and I, is that big building that you see the tilt walls going up is going to be a new 140,000 square foot rec center. It is going to have an auditorium. It's going to have an indoor suspended. It's going to be on the 2nd story, suspended running track, and so much more. A gym. It's going to be a center for activities. Tons and tons of things are going to happen. There's going to be a new downtown plaza just outside of it. Pflugerville did invest a bunch of money into the renovation of their library. Their library is awesome. My wife's actually taking our 2 kids there this morning. This is really, really exciting. It's going to connect trails down into the big Pflugerville trail system as well. By far and away, that's really exciting, and it won't be open in 2025, but it should be open in 2026. Now, we're pulling into one of the other brand new things here in Pflugerville, which honestly, we're also very excited for. This new complex here includes a Crux Climbing Center, which if you are from the Austin area, I'm sure you've been familiar with. They've got a couple of different Crux dotted throughout Austin, but I don't think they've ever had one out in the suburbs before. We are very excited to have this one here. Just a huge climbing gym. You can get memberships. They've got a typical, more normal, like CrossFit type of gym inside as well. Just really, really fun. Like when my family was in town from Dallas, we took my little siblings here. It's just a really fun thing to have if you're looking for an alternative to a typical like Gold's Gym membership. This is a really fun workout. Spokesman Coffee is also right across with their own standalone coffee shop. That's definitely a favorite of ours here. And you've got a Spicy Boys chicken trailer, which if you've not tried it, it is phenomenal. You absolutely should. Now, if you live in Pflugerville or you've looked around here at all, what I'm driving on right now is as close to holy ground that you could ever want. We are now just on the east side of Highway 130, which when we do a full map of Pflugerville, I'll talk a little bit more about how 130 basically split Pflugerville in half. But this is the Kelly Lane extension that people on this side of Pflugerville have been crying for forever. For the longest time, this was a little 2-lane, fairly bumpy road, and this would be absolutely horrible at all times of traffic because, frankly, most of the really big neighborhoods here in Pflugerville, you have to use this road to commute out. This runs straight into SH 45, the toll road that takes you kind of Takes you westbound to Cedar Park, for example, or Dell's campus, the Domain, all of the above. Anyways, and this was the worst spot, like the little bottleneck for traffic that was absolutely dreadful. Now, with this new extension that's just opened, it has completely transformed this. And when we talk about the neighborhoods over here, you'll see just how dramatic of a difference it has made as far as commute times go. People are praising. Again, this is probably as close to hallowed ground as you can get here in Pflugerville. Now let's jump into what it's actually like to live here as far as housing options go. Now, like I mentioned in what's coming soon, Pflugerville really is split down the center by the toll road 130. Now, 130 is the toll road that takes you for a straight shot down to Tesla, for example, the Circuit of the Americas. It takes you right down to the Austin airport. Now, we're gonna start though on the west side of 130, which is where I live. And this is quote unquote the older side of Pflugerville. Now, Pflugerville, in comparison to most of the other places around the country, very little here is actually old. But you know, this is going to be much more established. You know, there are homes going back to about the 70s in smaller pockets of Windermere, for example. The neighborhood that we're driving around now, Mountain Creek, is about 20 to 30 years old, depending on the house. So you're going to find bigger trees, more established areas. This is a lot of where Pflugerville's already invested into the park system. So trails, actually, we're driving past right now. You're going to have tons of those. You know, you can follow the trails that we're passing right now all the way up to the library, to places like West Pecan Coffee. You can walk or bike there from some of these locations, and it's incredibly convenient to commute into Austin. Now, one of the other benefits too of being on this side of Pflugerville, on the west side, is just how easy it is to avoid those toll roads. You know, especially if you commute into Austin. The fact of the matter is, toll roads in Texas, while they're not as expensive as states like New York, it does add up, especially if you're commuting 5 days a week into Austin. It's something to be aware of. You know, that can add up. If it's $2.50 each way, that's $5 a day, you know, times 4 weeks a month. Anyways, just something to be aware of. But this side of Pflugerville, you can avoid most all of that. Again, too, the homes that I've sold out here, and frankly why my wife and I chose to live out this way too, we love the matured trees. We love the character that comes with it. A lot of these homes have been remodeled too. So just because it's the older base doesn't necessarily mean that you're sacrificing some of the ease of use with a newer home. You know, and frankly too, a whole lot of my clients that come from, especially the East Coast, where you know, it's not abnormal to have a home built in the 1800s. These homes are in the 20 and 30 year range. They're not bad at all. Now, that 20 to 30 year range though, do be aware, that's typically when your AC wears out and needs to be replaced, your roof. A lot of times too, your kitchen's starting to look dated and or worn by those times. So it really does depend, but you can get so much charm for it. It really is cool. Now, coming on to the east side now of Pflugerville, we have jumped. SH-130 is just over my shoulder, and so is the Stonehill Shopping Center, which is right off of 130 in the intersection with Toll Road 45. Big one, because as you can see just past me, basically all of your daily things are there, your big box stores. For example, the Costco just over my shoulder, your Home Depot, your Dick's Sporting Goods, your Best Buy, like basically everything that you would need day to day is in there, as well as some fast food chains like Torchy's Tacos that are local here in Austin, P. Terry's. You just got so much. You've got your Chick-fil-A, your In-N-Out. Literally everything covered is right smack in the middle of Pflugerville. You know, from my house over on the west side of Pflugerville, it's just 10 minutes up the road to get here. We zoom up here all the time for miscellaneous things. You know, Target's right here, for example. Anyways, could not be easier. And if you're on the east side, where we're driving on to Kelly Lane right now, again, could not be easier. Now, a couple things to point out that make the west side of town particularly unique. We're actually driving past right now, just on the north side of Kelly Lane, Blackhawk, which was the first, you know, big master planned community here in Pflugerville. Now, Blackhawk is special because it is, you know, Pflugerville's golf course community. They really have some of the best amenities. You know, if amenities are really important to you, they've got the best we've got in Pflugerville. Of course, in addition to the golf course, they've got multiple amenity centers, multiple pools, they've got playgrounds, pocket parks, trails, all the things all throughout. We've actually done a full tour just on Blackhawk. We'll link that down in the description below if you're curious. They started building Blackhawk in the very early 2000s, very late 90s. So you'll see some more matured homes, especially the ones along most of the golf course are going to be that way. But they are still building new construction in in Black Hawk right now. And the other thing that makes Black Hawk in particular very special too is its own on-site elementary school, which Black Hawk generally has some of the best schools, public schools, in all of Pflugerville. Another great neighborhood here, preaching on schools a little bit, and the reason that most of the clients that I've sold over here tend to be families is on the other side of the street, places like Falcon Point have, again, across the board, 8 out of 10 or higher schools according to Great Schools. These really have some of the best schools in all of Pflugerville ISD, and they're all together in one corner up by where that Costco is, up by the entrance of Falcon Point, Hendrickson High School, Kelly Lane Middle, and Murchison Elementary. Again, absolutely stellar schools, and we'll talk a little bit more about schools here in the end. But definitely one of the biggest draws to this side is both new construction and, of course, the schools. Now, as we're venturing down just a little bit farther, this is also the home of one of our favorite parks that we love to bring our little ones to, Lake Pflugerville. Now, Lake Pflugerville is really special because A, that's where most of Pflugerville's water is held. It's a big reservoir. There's only one actual lake here in Texas, but it's really pretty. It really is stunning. They've got a huge trail that goes all the way over. The city of Pflugerville built a little sand beach area. We love taking our kiddos over there. Our little one loves the sand and playing in it. And on a nice day like today, could not be a nicer thing. They do a bunch of events over this way, and the trail system is working very hard to connect the trails that you've got over here onto that other side of Pflugerville. So there's also a lot coming soon over here. And in addition to some of the more established neighborhoods over this way, there's also a couple of really exciting new ones. Just off of Lake Pflugerville that I was just talking about is Lakeside Meadows. There's a couple of different builders in there offering, everything from smaller homes well above 3,000 square feet. So literally something for everybody at a very reasonable price range. And that is just off of Lake Pflugerville. So you could literally walk or bike from your house in that neighborhood straight over to the park, go fishing in the morning. It really is awesome to see that coming soon. And that neighborhood has very easy access to SH 130, so you can jump on that toll road and commute anywhere you need to go. In addition, Pupil Estates. One of the big cons you got to watch out for on this side of the neighborhood is the taxes. Property taxes, because of the infrastructure that Pflugerville is putting in over here, that money has to come from somewhere. So property taxes here on this side of town are a little bit on the higher end. But there's neighborhoods like Pupil Estates, which are just outside of those really high taxes, that actually has a tax rate under 2%. So if you're looking for a little bit of a higher end home, that is a really, really great option for you. And again, right within all of this, there's also new things too. A brand new HEB just opened up right off of 130, making it extremely easy if you live in any of these neighborhoods that I have mentioned to get down, get your groceries. You no longer have to drive all the way into the west side of Pflugerville to get to your daily things like groceries. And it's a huge one. It's got the barbecue restaurant and everything within it as well. Very, very cool to have that. So here on the east side of Pflugerville, you really do have some great options. There's lots of outdoors things to do. And again, day-to-day things between the Stonehill Shopping Center, the great schools, the HEB that's opened up this way, and the easy access to the big toll roads. You can commute anywhere you need to go very, very easily. Just be aware, property taxes are a thing, so make sure you budget appropriately. If you're comparing to the other side of Pflugerville with, let's say, a tax rate around 2% compared to 2.6 in some places, some neighborhoods on this side, just be aware that does make a pretty dramatic difference as far as affordability goes. But as long as you're looking out for those things, you really cannot go wrong over here, and there's so much more coming soon. Now, one last little thing I want to hit on specifically and make a whole section of this video on is schools, because like I just mentioned, especially the east side of Pflugerville is known for some really exceptional schools. But Pflugerville is also uniquely positioned as well with really easy access to a lot of the publicly funded charter schools that we have here in Texas. Now, you do have to apply to enroll in these schools. They can be very, very competitive as well, but they are publicly funded, so it's a great alternative to a private school if you want a more specialized education for your kids in a couple different ways. For example, Harmony, which is just down Wells Branch Boulevard, is it's a science and technology school. They also offer really cool things like Arabic as a foreign language. We're very, very close to Valor, although that technically is just into Austin, but Valor charter schools are also exceptional and very, very well rated if you dig into those. We've got a brand new campus of Basis just at 10th Street and Wells Branch that just opened. They've got a phenomenal reputation for their education as well, and that goes K through 12. Anyways, there really, really are cool things going on as far as the public charter school system goes. Pflugerville has more options than a lot of the other suburbs, so if schools are really important to you, in addition to the public schools that the home might be zoned for, definitely look into some of these charter schools, because definitely like those are something we're looking into in the next few years for our kids. There's some really, really cool options here. Definitely worth exploring, and I really wanted to note that because that really does make Pflugerville unique. Now, to finish up the video, I did want to stop off and just talk a little bit about why we chose Pflugerville, because I think this might help a lot of you, who are looking around some of the different suburbs, compare, like, why did we pick this one? And I'll share a little bit of that story. So I moved here from Georgetown. I've basically lived in every single suburb of Austin now. Grew up in Cedar Park, straight after college, moved back, and we had an apartment with my brother in Round Rock, and then moved up to Georgetown. And when my wife and I met, my wife at the time was working in South Austin still. We knew that us living in Georgetown was not gonna be a doable option, although it's ironic, she works in Georgetown now. But we're like, okay, if we're gonna look in the north suburbs, which is most realistic for her job opportunities in the future, which of course did happen, as well as being central, I drive anywhere. It really doesn't matter. But being central did seem like a really nice option. At the time, this was over 4 years ago, we weren't quite at the place in our career to be in Austin Central, in some of the neighborhoods that we would want to live in. So we started looking north. And the fact of the matter is, Pflugerville does have one of the most convenient locations if you want that little bit quieter suburban lifestyle, but without being super far from town. Because still to this day, a lot of the things we do are within Austin. So we wanted to be commutable to Austin. We wanted to still be within things and not feel like we're super far out in the suburbs yet. And, Pflugerville has a good reputation for being safe. My wife can go out for a walk after dark and not worry about some of the things that you would have in some of the bigger cities. For example, there are a ton of things to do. We love places like Hanover's in downtown Pflugerville. It's a big bar restaurant that's got volleyball out back. We did league nights there before we had kids, and now that we've got two, it makes it a little bit harder with babysitters, but we still absolutely love it. And now that we do have kids too, the park systems, the trails, my wife literally took our kids this morning to the library. They've got so many really great things for families. You're really easy access to things if you're not quite there yet that we love. It's so convenient to things like shopping. We're literally just down the street from H-E-B. Stonehill has everything we need. The one downside, I guess, we don't have a Trader Joe's. We do still drive into the Arboretum for that, but we're 15 minutes from the Domain. There just is so much going on, and my oldest is 2 right now, but we're looking forward towards schools already. There's so many different options. There's just a lot of really cool things that make Pflugerville unique and make it stand out, while again, not feeling like you're super far removed from Austin. If you want to, because you're still involved with things there, you work there, those kind of things, this really does offer a lot. Now, if you've watched all the way to the end, I hope this gave you a really good picture of what it's like if you're looking to move to Pflugerville, comparing those different suburbs around Austin. Maybe you're looking to relocate here, or maybe you're looking for your final destination home, you're tired of renting. Anyways, if that was you and you're looking for a real estate agent, someone to work for you who can help guide you through the process, of course, whether it's a new build or a resale home, make you confident in your decision to, and whether it is Round Rock, Pflugerville, Georgetown, Leander, Cedar Park, some of the other ones too, they all have really good things going for them. I would love to be that real estate resource of choice for you. My personal direct contact details are on the screen down below. Reach out to me. I'd love to connect and be that real estate agent for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time.